Hello, welcome to Mending Threads. This is your safe place and your stronghold for whole body wellness. We're going to talk about a topic today that is going to have an impact. It's the beginning for transformation, life transformation, health transformation. The literature has shown for therapeutic practice that if we could help the person find purpose in their life, find meaning in their life, and express the meaning, that it actually heals them. So it has been published in applied psychology journals that this is one of the most important things that we can do as practitioners, as pastors, and as community leaders. So today we have with us Dr. Flyod Atkins, who is our physician, resident physician in the community, to look at whole body wellness. So I'm going to bring on Dr. Flyod Atkins from the Center for Wellness and Healing. Hello, Dr. Atkins. How are you?
Good day. How are you doing today?
That's great. My co-host and guest on health, and we're going to put it out there that we're inviting other physicians to come on and talk about what they do in their practice and how the practice can help heal and bring health to the community. So I want to say that you have chosen a really appropriate topic for the increase in suicide, the children who are going through trauma, and everybody's asking, what is this about? So first I thought I just have a question. How do you know what is purpose? How do you know when your life is purposeful or not? So the topic you have is keys to a purposeful life. So what is that? What is purposeful life? We all have different,
Well, yeah. Well, from a spiritual standpoint, I think we're all born into this world with a purpose. And so the first realization is that people have to realize that I do have a purpose. I'm not here by happenstance. I just wasn't born as a random chance. It's not a situation like that. But the fact is, as a human being and being associated, related, or connected to other human beings, we all are in this together. We affect each other's lives. So we have to find out what is our part in the puzzle, what is our part in the play. And so, what a lot of people don't do is think about that as a exit adolescence and go into adulthood. You should start really trying to narrow down what is your purpose, what am I here for, what is my passion, what is my talent. And those are two different things. You can have a passion for something, but it may not be expressive of the talent you have. So you want to start out with what is my talent. So if you can kind of realize what am I good at, and it may, for some people, it may be a great musician. It may be someone who's able to paint or artist. For another person, it may be the few words that you say to another person. It can be expressing your words. For someone else, it could be just compassion and kindness, knowing how to work with people. So whether you are in this world to affect thousands or hundred thousands of people, or only one person, because one person that you affect can change the world. So we want to find out what that talent is, and then once you find that, then you can find out, then you can apply passion to that, and then you can determine what your purpose is, because you'll see a need for what your talent is, because it has a need, it has to fit somewhere. It's up to us to identify that.
So actually, so when a person is trying to I forgot to turn it. I think he does have it on Facebook Live, but I
Mm-hmm.
only have one question here. Can
Mm-hmm.
your purpose change based on your experience? This is a male. This is mhm. Can
Well,
your
purpose.
purpose in life, is the purpose that you're talking about change with the
Well,
experience? This is a veteran asking. Mhm.
yes. Well, not so much the purpose change. I think our circumstance may change. If our circumstance change, it would change how we apply what we are able to do. If our purpose is still to be helpful to people, to be a person who people can depend on or lean on, or a person who can be a sage wisdom or advice, that may not change, but the circumstance on how you use that purpose may change. Because younger in life, you may be a mentee to people, and you really approach that from a different standpoint. But as we all mature, we become mentors. has become mentor person. I don't know what that means, but I'm gonna call myself that for the purpose of this show.
Mhm.
I see young people and they inspire me. I see they have inspiration because they are motivated, they have energy, they're
Yes,
excited, they're ready to take
yes,
over the world. So that's an inspiration. But then as an older person, I realize that I become that inspiration, or I'm inspired. I can inspire them. So me sharing, a young person sharing with me as a young person, it can be an inspiration. And then at this point, it kind of turns around. But the purpose is still the same, to connect and to have an impact on another person's life. Because I think that's really what we're all here for.
yes.
So it can change.
Right, it can change. So
Yes.
there was something that I was talking. So let's talk about this, the givers and the takers.
Yes.
So it says that actually you learn how to handle givers and takers in terms of what your purpose is, you can discern your purpose by how you move forward with the givers and the takers. I was just reading something last night about how does purpose unfold.
Okay. Well,
Mhm.
yeah.
Givers
And
being
that's
takers being, I want to clarify, takers being people who enter a relationship or a situation in terms of what they get, and then they become happy when they get what they have. And
yeah,
givers being those persons who go in with who they think they are or something, and they try to learn what it is that they could give. Givers and
yeah.
takers, how we respond.
Well, I think first of all, when it comes to the takers, let's take the takers first.
Uh,
And what I have come to realize in my life, and just observing people around me, is that the takers tend to, uh, you know, they're always looking for what they can get in the relationship, but in the long run, they never get satisfied, because no matter what they feel that they're receiving in the relationship, is never enough. And then once they have that, they're always looking for more. So you never get a satisfaction of understanding uh, the attitude of thankfulness or gratitude. You don't get that feeling because you're always looking for more. It's always a search, because you can't ever get everything. It's like people who want to make money. The richest people on earth, their whole goal is they never get enough. And they don't
mhm,
realize, but it's an addiction that you never get enough. And you can never get enough because you never can get all the money. But when you're a giver, once you giving is a consistent thing. Whether you give a little or give a lot, when you give, it has a whole different psychological, mental impact on your person. It makes you feel good.
mhm,
It brings on a whole set of endorphins that you can't get by taking. It's more of a positive effect on life. And I think,
mhm,
as far as wellness, as far as health, the giving is always going to out perform the takers. So, and then I would say in life there has to be a balance there. So
mhm,
even people who are in a relationship, when want to talk about that, uh, it has to be a little give and take on both sides. And we know
yeah,
this, we hear this, but most people, you can't have a relationship where one person is a complete giver and the other person is a complete taker. Because what
right,
happens, it'll be out of balance and it's not going to work at
yeah,
some point. Somebody's going to get
yeah,
abused, misused,
mhm,
mistreated. But
mhm,
as long as they realize that I'm going to give 100%, if I give 100% and the other person give 100% or give 110%, you're always going to give more. You don't have to worry about taking, because it's always given to you. Give
mhm,
and it shall be given to you, pressed down,
yes,
shaken together, flowing
yes,
over into your bosom. So you want to, so if both person are super givers, then you don't have to worry about taking everything you want. You'll
mhm,
have it for you
mhm.
from the other side.
So
So
that
I
was
think
good.
that's,
That was good
yeah, I
for
think,
boundary setting and wellness. So
yeah,
it's sort of like when you have a purpose, you still need to be aware of
yeah.
how to express your purpose and how to handle that. Yes.
Yes, and that's what people sometimes need guidance, because they think if I just give all myself, unabatedly, then that's going to make a difference. But no, because that's another setup for getting abused again. So you
Mhm,
want to give people, you have to measure what is the need, and then find out if the people going to receive it. because a lot of people go around, well, I just wanted to help you. I guess so. I get frustrated. I always joke with my wife about soap operas that we watch. And I always talk about, oh, I'm here just to help you. I just want to help you. And they're not helping you. All they're doing is, putting their own thoughts and ideas in your
Yes,
head or
yes,
you.
yes,
So,
yes,
you want to not dwell on unsolicited advice or
yes. Oh,
unsolicited
now
help.
that one we need to put an asterisk beside. Right. We
Yeah.
do. Matter of fact, persons that I come in contact with or work with in terms of can't find their purpose or are being misdirected as to how they become frustrated in terms of either let's say drugs or substance or whatever, or kind of like losing contact with reality or whatever,
Mhm.
seems to be so misguided in how they search and handle purpose and who they are.
Yes.
Hmm.
And one thing I want to say about that is that, people look and they search and they can't come up with anything because they're looking all around them. They're looking all over the world or looking at other people and looking at other things. But I learned that what you need to do is just look at your feet. Look at what is at your feet, what is in your presence, what is in your arms reach, things you can do. If I like baking and cooking and I'm pretty good at that, I don't have to search any further. I have to find out, how do I make this benefit others? If I'm good at sewing, if I'm good at just talking and speaking, if I whatever it is always right at your feet. It's never more than an arm's length away. But we look past those things that we take for granted because we think, well, who could benefit from that? And those are the things that God is put in front of us to be able to share with other people. So don't look far. Look at what you're good at and what's right at your feet around you.
And so I want to show you how things work when you really believe. So we were doing a play, and I shared this morning to a young lady, and I
Hmm.
said she wanted to join the choir, and she
Hmm.
thought she couldn't sing. So I was teasing her how I couldn't sing. I really know that I can't sing. I told her I tried it. So one of the things is that you have to try. You have to experiment.
Yes.
Once you see that that's not your direction, then you need to choose something else. So we were laughing
Yes.
about it. So I told her about the young lady who was in the theater production at church. We were doing a little,
Yes.
and I said, the lady said, I said, just try it and just read the lines and express it. Well, lo and behold, the young lady not only read the lines and expressed it, she broke out in a cappella because and look, she had the most beautiful voice. Nobody knew where it was came. Everybody just stood up and had their mouth gaping because
Yes.
couldn't find the expressions for how she was doing the words or saying the words. So her body just all of a sudden just started singing the words. And that was
Yes.
beautiful. So I shared that with the young lady this morning. And lo and behold, she says, I needed to hear that. She says, I'm an actress. I didn't even know. And she says, I
Yeah.
work for a theater company. You see, and so she now says, I want to do that with you. Our company wants to do, because I couldn't do that. But so like purpose can unfold.
Yes, yes, and you need that inspiration, that stimulation, that someone like you just say a few words, people, because they have to learn how they have this pent up thing that they either inhibit in some way, but they just let it go. And once you let it go, it'll take over. You don't have to worry about, can I do it? You're already doing it. It's already in your body. You just need to let it go, and don't hold yourself back because of your own fears, anxiety, you know, discontent or whatever you have.
So can we
So
talk
yeah.
a little bit about the how a person some of the key things for a person to really take a step so we could maybe look at how we can use it? Can we?
Yes.
Mhm.
Let me go to my slides here. Let me see if I can get to the slides here. When the entire screen. No. Um, can you see? Okay, I'm gonna
Mhm.
bring it up right now. You should be able to see it. Start. Can you see my screen now?
It looks like I want to. It's a black spot there. Maybe if you bring something up to it, or
Okay, I can. You still see a black spot?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let me try it again. I can see it fine on this side. Let me see if I can start it over. Yeah. And what we're going to talk about is these are keys to a purposeful life, and just kind of give people a starting point on what they need to do and how they need to go about uh, determining what is their purpose in life.
Mm-hmm.
Share. Okay. Um, Let me try one more time here. Otherwise, I'm going to read it to you if I can't get it to come up here.
Mm-hmm.
How about now?
Not yet. Uh-huh. You're still on the screen. Okay, wait a minute. Oh, there it is. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I got it. So, what we're going to talk about, and just we're going to go through this and just kind of share some points, keys to a purposeful life. And, these things, and what we're really talking about is what I call the foundation of having a life of wellness and health and well-being. We always talk about the nutrition, the diet, the health of the body, but
Mm-hmm.
what I want people to also realize is that as a man thinketh, so is he. So you have to think about the things that you want to come to pass, and you have to have your mental status in good shape to be able to accomplish anything, even to focus on, making changes in diet, lifestyle, those kind of things. You have to be mentally prepared, or have a mental direction. So to get to the point of identifying your purpose, this is what is your purpose? But first of all, I always want to start off with what is your talent? And talent is sometimes uh, those are the things you really don't appreciate unless you have a talent like a musical talent, or if you have a talent for acting, or if you have a talent that expressive talent. Those things sometimes are identified at an early age. Sometimes our parents say when you get they know from a childhood what you're going to do when you are an adult because they see it in you. And a lot of people take that and go with it. And a lot of times I think that's a good way to have an idea what your talent is, because other people can see it usually before we do.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is that talent, the thing you do should be something that gives you joy. So if it inspires you, if you feel good about it, if you makes you feel like a great person, then that's a good sign. That talent and that's the direction you should be going. A lot of times our parents may want us to go to medical school, go to law school, when our talent is singing or dancing or something that they would consider maybe not something we should do. But you have to go with that talent.
Can I
Uh,
share
and
something with you?
sure.
So, persons who are thinking about it, just to look around at some key people in their lives and see how they interact with what people they see people doing, what their impressions are. And I know that
Yeah.
my mom used to, and I saved her table. We used to call it
Yes.
BB's table. So people would
Hmm.
come from all around, my grandmother and my mother. And I think that that's how I got into this profession. And
Yes.
see what I'm saying? Because not only did I saw them do it, but I kind of engaged with it, was listening to it. It made sense. And when the people left, they were always smiling, or they were always, you could see the change in them. You could begin to see something different. So that's
Yeah.
about a way to discover something, yes, in the talent,
Right.
finding the talent. Mhm.
Right. And understanding that your profession is not necessarily a talent,
No, it
but
may
your
not.
profession, yeah,
Mhm.
it's an avenue to express that talent, to be able to bring it out, to be able to utilize it. So just like you with the psychology, I think the way you, with your smile and with your words, how you connect with people is what gives you is a talent, because some people can talk and they just don't connect with people like that. And
Mhm.
then if you are helping them from and in your profession in psychology, then you have the knowledge to be able to use that talent to really impact people's lives, to make
Mhm.
people stop
Mhm.
what they're doing and make a change that they need to make, to stop and look at
Mhm.
themselves. Whereas
Mhm.
other people in their lives, we tell them all day, you need to do this, you need to do that, but they don't listen to that because it's the
Mhm.
delivery it's the person, it's the energy where it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's something that doesn't benefit others. A lot of people
Mm-hmm.
want to focus on things that benefit themselves, like making money or doing those things. But you want to know, even if you make money, it's not that making money is a bad thing. But the thing is what you're doing benefit anybody else other than yourself. So that's always a good sign that you can be successful, and
Mm-hmm.
that's something that that was a talent, it was God given.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of broke it down to 5 keys here to a purposeful life. And one is addressing the stresses in life, because a lot of times when we want to seek purpose, what blinds us to purpose and what inhibits us, or what's a blockade for us in purpose, is the stresses that we have in life. Some people grow up from a really difficult situation as a childhood. In their childhood, they might grow up from a broken home, single parent. They might have grown up in a foster care system. I grew up in a system where I grew up in a small town in Mississippi, when it was just seemed like there was no opportunity for black individuals, young black men or young black women altogether. So a lot of people became discouraged by that, because you just think I can never be anything, because there were no opportunities. I couldn't go to school. The school wasn't up to par, with so many reasons that you could say give up. But those stressors tend to make you make poor decisions, or make you avoid or overlook whatever talents or what your purpose may be. So you want to address those stressors, and we're going to talk about that in detail.
Mm-hmm.
Health is your wealth. We always have to put health first, because without your body being in the shape it needs to be in, you could have all the ambition, all the desire in the world, but you can't accomplish it because you're in a wheelchair, or you have disabilities that won't allow you to do what you need to do, what you intended to do. Living by intention. Intention means I have a purposeful direction. I've determined what my direction is. I know what my talent is. I know what my purpose is. I know how I want to help people, but I have to have a plan to do that. So everything you do in life has to be intentional. It can't be happenstance or just think things are going to fall into your lap. Number 4 says help someone else. If whatever you're doing is a purpose, it should be something that helps someone else. There are always people in more need than you are. We might think we're in a bad way, but there's always some people that are worse. Or even if the people are not worse, there are other people who need help, who need to be lifted up. They're almost to the top, but without your support and out your extra push in their life, they may not make it. So how, if you see people doing things that are positive and wonderful, how do you help someone else? And then finally is be grateful. And be grateful means we want to look at the things that are that we can appreciate in our life, and
Mm-hmm.
appreciate uh, what we have, and don't fret and feel um, irritated or critical of what we don't have. We want to be
Mm-hmm.
grateful, thankful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
I wanted you to go back for a minute to
mhm.
let's explain what intention, the difference between reading something, reading scripture or reading poetry, and then we feel it, we experience it, and then we're still there reading it. What
Yeah. Well, let,
I'm
let's cover
really,
the scripture.
because many of the people that I work with, they're reading it and they're feeling frustrated and they feel abandoned by God, but they're not reading it and listening to what is said, or what is said in the poetry, as if it has action.
Yes.
You
Well,
see. Mm-hmm.
go ahead. No, I was going to say that well, from a scriptural standpoint, when we talk about when you read it and you digest it, it says you have to have faith or believe in what you read. You have to believe it first. If you can't believe it, then you won't accomplish it, because you say I don't believe it. It really won't happen, because as a man thinketh, as a man believeth, so will he be. So will his life be. And
Mm-hmm.
so the reading is good. The hearing other people read it. Faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the work of
Yes.
God. People don't forget about that part where it says faith without works is what?
Yes.
Dead.
Day. That's right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so you can believe it, you can digest it, you can have faith for it, but you have to put the work in. So you have to get up and you have to do something. It says we need to be doers of the word and not just
Do it.
hearers only.
That's
Because
right.
you can hear all day, like I said, and people love to do that. They love to get motivated and excited, you know,
Mm-hmm.
we see that every Sunday in churches all over America. People go there and they get motivated, excited, and but by the time they leave out the door and get to the parking lot, they're back into the same mindset they were
Same
before,
mindset, right.
because they haven't been intentional about, when they walk out the door, what am I going to do to change my circumstance today? Even if it's just one thing. If I do one thing every day to change my circumstance, then my circumstance will change. But I have to, number one, believe I'm going to change it, and then do something about it. And this is what this says right here: to have a plan your work, and be
Mhm,
proactive. That means that you
mhm,
can't wait for, you want people to help you. You can't wait for someone to help you. Do the things that you can do. A lot of
mhm,
times we are hindered because we're always waiting for, the check to come. We're waiting for the other people to show up to help us. We're waiting for a circumstance, a situation to arrive. But there's always things that we can do in the meantime to move those things along. So I like to use the word be proactive. That means you want to be active, but you want to be active ahead of what you're trying to accomplish. And then the
mhm.
worst thing when it comes to living by intention is procrastination. We have a plan, we have an idea, we know what we want to do, but we keep putting it off for either it's out of fear, anxiety. We skeptical. We want, how are people going to think about what I'm doing? What are they going to say about me? Or or some people just, what I call strictly procrastinate. They just keep putting it off because they find excuses. So we want
Some
to.
people feel, I think, I put a note down because I'm really trying to study that. I see
Hmm.
other procrastination. We all have some level of procrastination in
Yes.
what we do. So one of the
Right.
things is that I'm seeing is that there's also an element of entitlement that I should not have to do that. um,
Yes.
Someone else, and it's a lot of that. It's like, and then you'll hear increase in blame statements. And so I'm trying to, one of the interventions is to get the person to do a tape recorder and
Yes.
tape during the day all of the things that they take responsibility for and they're appreciative of in their actions, and all of the things that they blame. They just do one day and they just let a partner tape them randomly, like their
Yes.
husband or a friend, you see. And so they don't know when the person is taping, but the feedback is so good. It's
Yes. I think that's a great
mhm,
tool to be able to help people
mhm.
understand, things, and they get down to the root of why they procrastinate. But yeah, and I have to agree with you 100%, because I didn't think about how entitlement, like people who are professionals sometimes thinks, have a business, but they think they don't have to, do cleaning or clean the toilets and the bathrooms or do whatever it takes to make your business
Yes,
successful. That someone else should do it, so it doesn't get done because you think it's beneath you. And
yes.
but you have to put those things aside if you want to uh, achieve these goals.
My uncle
Uh,
shared something with me that others may find beneficial. He says, when you get ready to do something, set a plan for your work, make sure that you can do everything from A to Z in
yes,
there and that you do it. That was one,
yes,
I wrote that down in I'm writing my little book finally. And the other
yeah,
one is that wherever you go, you make sure that you on level with everybody,
yes,
from the president to the person who is doing the cleaning and who's delivering the food. Those things.
yeah,
Mhm,
yes.
mhm.
I mean, I think that's an excellent point, and I adopt that policy too, because I tell, I have sons that go in and they're in the business, and they kept saying, "Well, Dad, I'm gonna hire somebody to do that." I said, "Well, how do you know if a person is doing what they're supposed to do if you don't know how to do it?" I
That's right.
said, you hire a person after you know how to do it, but you have to master that skill, understand that skill, even if you're not a master, but understand the skill, understand the process, do it yourself. So then you can be able to assess whether the person is doing
Mhm.
what they need to do.
And
But
even at
when
my
you,
age, I'm trying to learn how to even do technical stuff that's so new to me. And
yes,
even construction, I've tried to learn how to do building, painting. I try to do lay tile. I'm trying to learn. I'd learn how to do. I have done those things, and I try to learn how to do it because when you're in a cramp, you're
yes,
thinking about that's under proactive, and knowing
yes,
that you might have to do those things so that your
right,
anger and your satisfaction and meaningfulness can grow. You see,
yeah,
your meaningfulness can grow, because now you see even how intricate this is.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You don't sit back and say, well, I can't do this because I don't have anybody to do this. But that's
Yes.
again proactive. You say, well, let me go on YouTube, let me get a book,
Let me
let me,
see.
yeah, call people I know who know how to do this, and at least get started. And
Yes.
you know, by calling that person who may know how to do it, and they telling what to do, and they say, oh, I have a person who can help you with that. And so, but just by taking that little step would open up bigger doors for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, intention, living my intention, I think is so important. Um, I'm going to I'm going to move forward a little bit to help someone else, because I
Yeah.
think the whole idea of of helping someone else is a key to success when it comes to doing things. There's this old proverb or a fable about how um, it was a kingdom where the people lived, and the people they had all the food, they had all the drink, they had everything they had need of in the kingdom. They had just abundance of everything when it came to food and nourishment. But the one thing they had spoons and forks, but the spoons had a handle on them that was 10 feet long, and the forks had a handle on them that was 10 feet long. So when you hold the handle of the fork, uh, it was so far away from your mouth you couldn't feed yourself with it. So what
Hmm.
happened is, over time that they had all this food and everything, they had these long forks, that the people started dying, and almost all the people died because they couldn't feed themselves, because they have utensils to feed themselves. And then finally, a small group of people in that group started getting fat, and they were growing and gaining weight and doing wonderful. And everybody else want to know, how are you eating when these long utensils we can't eat with? And they said, well, I take my long fork, and I have to take the fork and I dip it in my plate and I feed the person next to me. And the person next to me takes their fork and they feed me.
Oh,
So it
that's so
shows,
cute. That's good. Hmm.
yeah, but we have to work together. So the way they survive is that they feed each other. So you have to help your neighbor, and not just think of yourself. If you try to feed yourself, you suffered and starved. If you use your long fork, and it was a lesson for them to show how
Yes,
we all need each other.
that's right.
So I think in families, going back to family help, so it's, and I spoke about this before. It's so important that young children, grandchildren, talk to their grandparents. It's kind of a, when you skip generations, I think you learn more, because the grandparent has time to share with the grandkids, and the grandkids are there to listen. In parenting, you have so many distractions, you may not get to have that same quality time. If you do, that's wonderful. In my family, we did that. We had quality time with my mom and my dad almost every night, where we sat down and we had to have a talk about whatever we want to talk about. It was a time after dinner where we did is we watched this and we sit down and talk before we go to bed after everything was done. But I think kids today will learn so much by having a mentor, that's someone in the family who can really relate to them, and it's going to be caring and nurturing. Or even if it's a neighbor or a friend, sometimes neighbors don't have any people in their lives, or friends may need other people to reach out to. But finding out the needs of others and helping them, I think, is a great tool. You want to add
I
something to
really
that?
like that. That is so. That is, we're trying to do something. We got the mental health coaching with people
Yes.
from the community to do that. Yes,
Yeah.
and you're right on. Then how to help others, and learning how to listen to them and see what their needs. But I think it's more the giving heart. The people
Yes.
inside of, they just want to see a difference. And I believe,
Yes.
it's something like, if you, whatever you want to see in your family or see in your community, then you have to be that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. You have to be that and do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you want to see the love, you have to be the love. If you want to see the
Mm-hmm.
change, you have to be the change.
Mm-hmm.
That's one way I like to put it. But yeah, and then I tell people, there's so many different ways to help. So I don't want people to have an excuse for how they can't help, because community service, and the community service, that the key word in that is community. You find out what's going on in your community, what's going on in your neighborhood, on your street. Whether it's houses up from you or 2 houses below you, or if you live in a multi-family situation like an apartment building. Find out what the challenges are with the community association, but find out how you can participate and see if there's a need there. And if it is, you can
Mhm.
find out where you fit in and what you can do. You can apply your skill, your talent, and your
Mhm.
purpose to that. And then if that's not something that's for you, that you want to find a cause, whether it's a community organization, whether it's a nonprofit, but find a good cause to support. And a lot of people see that now when it comes to voter registration, they get involved because they see a tremendous cause of having equity and balance in our political system. So you
Mhm.
find out, how can I help a person who wants to vote but is and having all kind of obstacles. But find a good cause and support that, and be dedicated and diligent with that. And lastly, volunteer. It may seem like all of these are volunteers, but volunteer means I don't know uh, what a person needs or what the need is, but I know there is a need. So you present yourself, find out what the needs are, and then be a part of it. Even if it's like in Texas, we're big on volunteers when it comes to relief efforts. Whether it's a hurricane or a storm or a flood or something, there's always a need. So I
Mhm.
know my family, when my kids were in high school, I would go down to George R. Brown Center at Christmas and New Year's when they would have served dinners. And my kids really hated it. Why do we have to go down here? I said, well, we're going to go down here and we're going to serve some dinners. And they said, well, we need to go home and eat dinner. I said, well, we'll eat dinner later. We're going to serve dinners first. We would work down there 3 hours and
Yeah.
just preparing plates, passing things out. And it was amazing. After we did that, they felt, they had a whole different attitude. They were angry at me when we started, but by the time we finished, they felt so good about it. They started asking, well, do we have to wait till next year? Can we go someplace else and do this? And so we would go to other shelters and do things like that. So it's contagious, and again, it has so much of a positive effect on the person who does it. So
And I
help
think you
someone.
have a point, because now there's a habit of parents not wanting their children to do anything. I can remember we were required to go and take
Yes,
the seniors' trash cans in and offer to go to the store for them, or something like that. My parent and I just hated it all. Why do we have to do this?
yeah,
But now I begin to understand and appreciate it. But now I'm listening to parents, and they don't want their children to be uncomfortable, and so they don't even ask their children to require them to have a helping hand or lend a helping hand. And they don't even want their children to cut the grass. They will
right,
hire somebody to cut the grass, and they'll have a teenager in their home that's 16 and 17 years old playing games on the computer. And they have no idea. And so this, what you're speaking about, is helping someone, is really the core of
yes,
saving our community and saving our young people. Hmm.
yeah. And it's a tremendous lesson for the person who does it. They don't realize how it will affect their lives. That it number one gives them purpose. They can understand what purpose is, because purpose again is not for you. It's for the people around you. It's for the people in your environment. I mean, I understand it's fully what you're saying, because as growing up, my father used to make me cut our grass in our yard all the time. But it so happens that the neighbors next door to us, there were all women in the house and children. It was no males in the house. My father said, "Okay, now go cut the grass next door."
That's
And
right.
I thought he had lost his mind. I kept saying, "What do you mean cut the grass? They can get somebody to cut their own grass." He just looked at me and said, "Go cut the grass." And I would cut the grass, and I did that a few times. And the lady who lived in the house was so thankful and so grateful to me, and she just, raved on and on about how I was such a wonderful young man, and I cut the grass and thanked my father. I mean, my chest was sticking out just from her words. And I realized, oh, so it's like, and when I saw the grass need cutting, it was no problem. After that, I cut her grass. I like that, those accolades, and the fact
Yes,
it is that I knew that I was being helpful. So
yes. Well, I know a story just like that. Not that they are
and
asking for a gift or anything, but the same similar kind of story, Dr. Atkins. And so the
yes,
young man got ready to go. This is so real. And the young man got ready to go to college, and his dad had been making him cut the senior's yard.
hmm,
So they was thinking that she was a helpless little old lady. And so what happened was, when he got ready to go to college, he didn't have enough money.
Yes.
And she got the wind of that he didn't have enough money. She went out and bought him all his clothes, his luggage, his ticket, and helped him on his tuition.
Wow.
He had no idea, but she was so grateful all those years that he
Yes.
had been cutting her yard. You see,
Yeah.
and she went to the store for her and things like that. Mhm.
Right.
So you see,
And go ahead.
I was just saying, thankfulness can. You're doing it, you're not expecting it, but
Right.
sometimes you get all kinds of thank yous.
Yes. And that's the most, I think, the most important kind when you go into something with the attitude that I'm not doing it for something in return.
Yeah.
Because I
Mhm.
think spiritually, our the law of karma, which is I think is a biblical or scriptural law, you know, what you sow, so shall you reap. If you give, it shall be given unto you. All those things that'll come back to you. You don't have to worry about where you're going to get. You just worry about where you're going to give, and I think that makes the biggest difference. On this attitude of gratitude page here, we've been talking about gratefulness, but affirmation, and making affirmations about. I'm gonna let you talk a little bit about affirmation because I know
No,
you
no.
advocate
Oh,
that for
mhm.
a lot of clients.
Yes, I do. I do. The affirmations are so healing. People who have gone through trauma. And matter of fact, I need to have them to send something to my website so I will know how. But when I get on, they say, and I have people send the affirmations, help them develop affirmations. Even
Hmm.
Saturday, we're going to be dealing with affirmations and online through our Saturday Wellness. But
Yes,
affirmations help the person not only be grateful, but it helps them find something inside of themselves to attach to what they're hearing and help them repeat it so that it
yes,
stays in their mind. It helps even to move some negative thinking psychologically so they can rethink the
yes,
situation that's bringing things that's unhealthy. You see,
yes,
even around health, people who have, as you know, because you've done a lot of training in your practice at the center, really help people with diabetes and whatever. But when they include affirmation with their treatment, we should really run a study on that some, really document it. But when,
yeah,
as to what type, but I do know that I've gotten reports that when they practice what's going on with the healing, like on Saturdays or at your practice, when they add affirmations, reading, and we help them practice, they end up healing and changing their behaviors uh,
yes.
and sustain it longer, you see.
Well, let me share one study with you. They did a
Okay.
study not long ago. We're talking about taking medication, pharmaceutical drugs for different problems, like whether it was diabetes or high blood pressure. But high blood pressure was one of them, and that people they put one group of people who took medication and another group of people who had a sugar pill, a placebo. And I don't like the word placebo, but the placebo means that you took a pill and it was a sugar pill. You didn't know which one was the real pill or not, but you believed that that pill was going to help you. So so you believed it. And so if you believe that, and they showed that 65% of the people who took the sugar pill, blood pressure was lower and they got better. Whereas only 50% of the people, less than 50% of the people who took the actual medication worked. So they said that actually the placebo effect of believing it worked was more powerful than the actual medication itself on making it work for people. So and so and so from a scripture standpoint, we know that if you believe it, then it'll happen. When we say you could believe, you achieve it. That's what the motivational speaker says. But
Yes.
faith and believing are synonymous words. Faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. So that means it's more powerful to hear than it is to read. So sometimes people read stuff on page, but if they hear it and it goes through their ears into their brain and it'll come out their mouth, even if it come out of your own mouth and your ears hear it, that
Yes.
creates more faith. That creates more ability to believe what you're saying. So when people loudly proclaim an affirmation, I will do better. I'm going to not do this. I am going to do this. But they say it and they hear themselves say it, or they hear other people hear it said, then that increases their faith to the point where they will accomplish those things. It becomes really real for them. And so I always go back to that study, and I have some other studies that show that, the first step is believing it. And once you believe it and then you hear yourself saying, that's why I put affirmation here, because it is so powerful. and you see it, you can see it as a tool, but when you want to test it in a clinical trial or test it where people can have some proof, it comes to the top of the top of the it floats to the top even at that point.
Thank
So
you. Mm-hmm.
we want to encourage people to find affirmations, to either find out what this particular circumstances are, because you want to be specific about your affirmation. You just want to say, I'm going to do better. You be specific about exactly what you want to do, and that
Mm-hmm.
takes, again, making a plan, being intentional. And finally, here, always look at the glass as half full and not half empty. Half empty means I don't have this, I don't have the right clothes, I don't have the right shoes, I'm not the right color, I don't have the right education, I don't have the right. You look at what you don't have, but look at the glass half full, which means I have this and I can do more. I'm on my way. That all I have to do is take the next step. So, when people think of that way, that's again an attitude of gratitude, grateful for what you have, and not complaining about what you don't have.
Yes. Very good.
So, I know we're getting short on time here.
Yes.
I didn't cover the part about health is your wealth, because I think we are clear on that. We talk about it, and we're going to talk about this throughout of our conversations. We always talk about nutrition, diet, and cleansing, getting proper exercise, getting the proper amount of sleep, being careful about the skincare and personal care items and cleaning items you expose yourself to, and then having a time for prayer, meditation, relaxation, something you do for yourself to replenish, rejuvenate, and restore your own being.
Which is kind of like the commitment. That's the
Yes.
commitment of allocating the time and your energy toward what you're saying and what you're repeating. This is
Yes.
really good, Dr. Atkins. This is really good. And I just want to briefly say that the groups that we're going to follow up, I hope that our listeners and our viewers listen to this and sign up. Okay.
Yes.
If they've ever struggled with anything and they have good intent,
Mhm.
if they ever need guidance, that we're going to be there, and that we're getting ready to start a whole body wellness group. And that means that it will be involving um, monitoring. So not only you'll have some coaching, you'll have monitoring, but Dr. Atkins will be leading the group in terms of all the wellness. And we'll also have mental health involved. So it'll be a whole body wellness. We'll look at how things are connected. We'll have time to talk about it and move forward. So what I want you to do is to go on and sign up on the website. It's already there, wrc-houston.com. And when you go on, he's going to put in some more detailed information. But we need at least 10 people before we can start this group. So if you've ever had difficulty with weight loss, if you have anything going on that you're trying to make a change in that involves your mental health and your physical health, but you feel stuck and you know that you need a little bit of coaching to get there, and you need to know what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. And I mean, I could give a lot of examples, like I do know that there is a flush that was done at one time that I have a lot. Dr. Atkins did a flush, told who could do it, who couldn't, and I had a family that actually engaged in it and found that it was brought clarity to their mind. And then there's some vitamins that people were depressed. And this Christmas, I decided to give away, to give as gifts instead of buying something, to give things that build your immune system and whatever. And the people started calling me, telling me I'm taking it, but I'm feeling less depressed. I'm more energized. And so I said, well, we need to find out how this works, and I need to study a little bit more. So these are the kinds of things we will look at: natural things, things you can do, and how to help yourself. And thirdly, how to better expect and what to ask when you go to your physician. So you will be well informed. So please go to wrc-houston.com and sign up. Okay. And we'll be there to see you. Okay, so as soon as we get 10 people, we're going to let you know. We already have 3. We just started last week. So you please sign up. We'll look forward to seeing you. Thank you. So if it's anything else you have to say, Dr. Atkins, to sum up anything, this is a
Well,
good
no,
time.
I just wanted to encourage people to follow the suggestion you make to really sign up for this program because, most people know they have a need. Again, they say, "Oh yeah, I need to do that," but actions speak louder than words. You have to move forward and determine to do that. And it's an investment that And if you're not investing in anything, usually people don't get much out of it. So you have to understand that I'm investing in my health. I'm investing in my life. That the small amount of dollars I may pay for this will make a huge difference in the way I move forward in life. And we're at a point in history now in the world today that we have to take responsibility and take control and take dominion over our own circumstance because the world is going so many different ways. And you want to have good information. You want people who are going to at least point you in the right direction. And that's what our goal is. We do this because we want to truly help people by making a difference in their lives. And and for me, it's a passion. For me,
I can't hear you. Said it was a passion. I think you're frozen. I think you're frozen. You're muted.
hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, yeah, I can hear you now. Yes.
Yeah, I think I froze for a minute. Yeah, for me, it's a passion. And I do this because I'm passionate about it and I want to see people do better. So whatever I have, my gift I think is teaching and sharing. And
Yeah.
so that's what I'm here for.
Yes. Well, you do a great job at it. That's what I need to say. And I know that so many others think the same. So I do want to say thank you for being with us today. Dr. Atkins, thank you from the Center for Wellness and Healing. And I want to thank our viewers for being and following us. Please go to Facebook, like us, do whatever those things they say, write notes to us, go to our email, ips.health1 or wrc.health1@gmail.com. Send us, please, a note of what you would like to see. And if you would like to be on and talk with us about it, if you're a physician or person in the community who have a lot to share, please let us know. Thank you. I want to thank everybody. We talked about purposefulness. So what I want to do is to say, Dr. Atkins, what's our motto? It's not the circumstances we meet, it is the manner in which we respond that determines health, happiness, and success. So I'll see you same time, same place, same station next week. Thank you.
Thank you.